my name is Atenea, and my advantage is that I'm a quick learner.
My name is Paulina Martin. I'm a senior HR service advisor based in Mexico, and my advantage is that I'm a fast learner.
Hi everyone, Tete here. I'm a senior HR advisor based in beautiful Costa Rica, and my advantage is that I can picture a structure in my head very easily, so I can work with creative people to make things happen.
Hello, my name is Alan, and my advantage is focus on detail.
Hi, I'm Abby, HR Service Advisor based in Manila. My advantage is being calm when working under pressure.
Hi, I'm Shu. I'm a senior advisor based out of Suzhou, China. My advantage is that I have strong communication skills.
Hi, I'm Ajeta. I'm Senior HR Services Lead based out of Hyderabad. My advantage is I have great patience.
Hi, I'm Alicia. I'm an HR Service Lead in the center in Prague, and my advantage is that I have an excellent sense of humor.
Hi guys, I'm Anand Kumar. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm a Senior HR Advisor at Hyderabad Service Center. My advantage is I'm a great advocate of whatever work I do.
Hi, I'm Caro Herrera. I'm Senior Advisor of Employee Data Europe team. I'm currently working in a document management automation project. My advantage is that I'm always trying to find ways to improve our processes.
Hello HR friends, greetings from Beijing, China. I am Claire from Global Access Management team. As my advantage, I love cooking and food hunting during my daily lives. So welcome to Beijing, and I could be your food buddy here.
Hi guys, I'm Deepak. I'm based out of Hyderabad and I'm a senior HR advisor. And my biggest advantage is that I'm a very fun-loving person.
Hi, I'm Sripta. I'm an HR Service Advisor. I'm based out of Hyderabad and I'm a great team player.
Hi, my name is Eileen. I'm working for Europe Benetton Legacy team, and my advantage is planning and organizing in any kind.
Hi, Fadula, Senior HR Advisor from Europe Move team, and my advantage is I am a perpetual optimist.
Good morning, Team Americas. Whether you're joining us from Brazil, Costa Rica, Mexico, Canada, or the United States, welcome to Advantage. Throughout the past year, we've listened, reflected, and discussed how we continue to invest in our learning so that each of us are equipped to do our very best work every single day. Empowering those who empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. We support roughly 200,000 Microsoft employees and their dependents, and nearly 125,000 external staff globally. And now, more than ever, we need this team to be intentional, focused, and ready to deliver further. This event is for you, and I know that if you fully engage, it will enable you to get even greater at your role and continue to develop skills like customer care that transcend all of our roles. But it's up to you to make this work to your advantage. This is your moment to dedicate the time to your learning. So, are you ready? Advantage brings work-based learning to the forefront. During the event, the virtual arena will be open to you. There will be general learning sessions available at predefined times, as well as team learning workshops that are facilitated by our learning and capability champs, as well as our culture champs. So make sure you have those saved in your calendars and come back here time for your session. Okay, it's important to remember that you need to attend the general learning session before you attend its related learning workshop. It will give you the content and the background to have that conversation effectively with your peers. You can enjoy the arena when you're not attending a general learning session or a workshop. When you need a break, our Fun Corner has some games for you to enjoy. You can compete with your colleagues and, hey, let's see who tops the leaderboards at the end of Advantage. You can also find a social wall where you can share pictures, share your unique advantages, and even show appreciation for your colleagues. All right. And last, the leader area holds some surprises. So if you're curious, check it out. Last but not least, at any moment, if you need a refresher on what session is available to you or you need clarity on timings, you can find resources in the info corner. And if you still need additional support to figure out anything else about the event, reach out to any of your culture champs for your region or contact one of our business administrators. Now, let's take a closer look at the general learning sessions for the next few days. Our general learning sessions will allow you to observe, listen, and make connections based on knowledge you already have. We wanted our presenters for each session to be fellow team members, those who have consistently demonstrated excellence at the skills they will present. They have learned and developed those skills, making them work to their advantage. And now they're here to share with you so that you all can do the same. On day one, we're going to be introducing the CARE experience. Think of it rebooting our employee support experience standards and the why and the how behind that in a way that helps us take it a little bit deeper. We'll take some time demystifying the HR services operating model. We're going to have some interviews and conversations to talk about the various aspects of how we work across multiple service lines and what those service lines are. And on day two, we'll focus on global ways of working. First session will be around communicating effectively. We'll introduce some of the latest features of dynamic CRM to make the most of it, help you be productive and efficient, and more engaging with our employee experience. We'll then pivot. We'll talk about ensuring accuracy and quality. We'll learn about the privacy by design principles. And we'll launch our new HR Record Center upload app, again, aimed at helping us be more efficient in our ways of working. On day three, we're going to have an FTE conversation around connect, learn, and share about working in a dynamic hybrid environment. That conversation helps us reinforce some of the practices that we know to be best practice in the organization. Our 4 general learning sessions are followed by learning workshops that will be all about applying the learnings through facilitated conversation. This will give you an opportunity to engage and discuss the topic further. The workshops are incredibly important as they make the topic real. You're not going to want to miss them. And do ensure that you're participating actively. They're a great opportunity to connect with colleagues. And if you want to, you can even join a session in another time zone if you wish. You can join 2 conversations if you would like. They're all going to be available and open for you, but that's our main engagement point, so make use of that. Several of our learning workshops will be facilitated by our learning and capability champs and moderated by our culture champs. We wanted to be intentional by having individuals that have demonstrated expertise on these topics they are bringing to you. All learning workshops will take place on MS Teams. You can go to the Learning Workshop Zone in the arena to have a quick access to these workshops. Okay. You will soon experience your first 2 learning sessions, introducing the CARE experience, demystifying the operating model. So take a quick break, grab a beverage of your choice, and come back in time for your first general learning session. Remember, this is an event for you. Take advantage of it and enjoy the ride. I'll meet you here again tomorrow to kick off day 2.
Hello and welcome everyone to today's session on introducing the CARE experience. We will be talking a little bit about what CARE means, along with some practical guidance on application for our daily work. I will be your host today, joined by my lovely co-host, Hinda. Hi, Hinda. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Thank you, Grania. Hello, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure and an advantage for me to live this experience with you. My name is Hinda. I'm Service Manager within Field HR Service Delivery, managing Field HR operation activities across Western Europe, Germany, and France. I'm based in Paris. I joined Microsoft 15 years ago. 15 years of continuous learning, opportunities, and more important, collaboration with exceptional people at an international and diverse workplace. On the more personal side, I'm a proud mom of 3 and a proud woman, privileged to be her true self at work. What about you, Grania?
Thank you very much, Hinda. And I am Grania, but a lot of people just call me G as well. I'm part of the employee data team in the Prague Service Center, and I joined Microsoft in the Czech Republic in 2018. I originally joined as part of the Ask HR team, now called HR Advisory, before becoming curious about other service lines. In particular, the very mysterious changes in employment team drew my interest. Today, that team is called Employee Data. I also had the privilege to work with the Aurora team in helping to train and implement the Employee Central tool in the Europe Service Center. This tool went live in February 2021. It has been a great experience to see how HR services has developed and to see the digital transformation that has occurred and is still occurring to this day. So now that you've heard a little bit about ourselves, let's talk a little bit about today's learning objectives.
Absolutely, Grania. The purpose of this session is to build awareness of and commitment to the customer expected behaviors, provide clarity on why we care and why care is important, and generate energy for consistently demonstrating the care behaviors. Now, let's listen to Chris' perspective on the care experience.
Welcome to the CARE experience, and thank you for taking the time to grow your skills in service to enabling amazing employee experiences around the world. The CARE experience is focused on equipping HR advisors with the skills required to embody and reflect the Microsoft culture across interactions with employees, partners, and colleagues, implementing the CARE behaviors of communication, accountability, resourcefulness, and empathy will enable you to deliver on our mission to provide a world-class employee experience every day, everywhere. Excellence is realized with a continuous focus on learning and growing, and ultimately delivering impact in your role. As I've said in our recent town hall discussions, there are 2 key areas I focus on every day, and I encourage others to consider in their own journey as HR professionals. The first is to truly have a deep, sincere empathy with those we interact with. And the other is continuously developing a learner mindset. This experience over the next few days will enable you to explore both in ways that you can uniquely apply to yourself, and this experience will provide a frame for you from which you can reflect on how you approach your work and your growth in ways that enable you to have impact and service to others, something I work toward every day. I look forward to many more learning opportunities with you in the time ahead, and I look forward to hearing about what you have learned in our next town hall meeting and sharing my thoughts with you as well. Talk soon.
So now let's talk a little bit more about what CARE means and how we can apply it in our day-to-day work. In short, they are a set of customer expected behaviors that have been analyzed and consolidated into this, the CARE model. That is, to communicate effectively, take accountability, be resourceful, and exercise empathy. So why CARE? When Ask HR assists employees and managers, we find that they most often remember the way that we make them feel, and that's something that's very hard to quantify. However, using the CARE framework, it can shape our way of thinking and taking action in order to consistently deliver superior customer service, and also build Microsoft's culture of customer obsession. Now, Let's watch a short clip together to learn more about what care and customer expected behaviors are in more detail.
Through customer focus groups, survey feedback, and third-party industry data, we know that over 60% of customer experience is based on how we make people feel. The expectation our customers have when they work with us is that we communicate effectively, take accountability, be resourceful, and exercise empathy. These customer-expected behaviors are equally important. Exercising empathy is where it starts. The capacity to understand what the customer is experiencing and feeling is called empathy and can be developed with practice. Making the effort to understand the customer's unique circumstances and perspectives can make you feel and even think differently about how to approach their situation, so that you may effectively determine what they really need from you on behalf of Microsoft. Effective communication. In a world where chat and email are common communication channels, we must be mindful and intentional in each interaction with a customer. Communicating effectively requires using active listening in order to gain a full understanding of the customer's needs, and then letting them know you are going to help. This conveys that the customer's unique circumstances are important to you and to Microsoft. Taking accountability. Can you think of a time when you were a customer who could not find anyone to take particular interest in helping you identify the best product or solution, or resolve your issue? It is quite frustrating, isn't it? That's why taking accountability is a key element of your role. Taking ownership of the customer's needs, partnering with others, and following through on all commitments you make to the customer demonstrates that Microsoft cares about them. Be resourceful. When you are working with a customer, you should always try to use your knowledge, experience, and training, ask for help when you need it, be proactive, and provide clear, simple information and recommendations. Doing all of this in a timely manner demonstrates your commitment to resourcefulness. Communicating effectively, taking accountability, being resourceful, and exercising empathy are critical for building and maintaining customer trust. We've developed a series of courses to help you build skills in each of these customer expected behaviors. Developing and using these skills in every customer interaction will help you to show that you care and to demonstrate customer obsession on behalf of Microsoft.
We have heard about care and customer expected behaviors. And we also heard why Chris believes these skills are a differentiator to the customer experience. Now it's time to start seeing how we apply care and in our role and how we use to guide our service and provide the best experience possible when a customer reaches us, the AskHR team. In everything we do at Microsoft, we have an obsessive attention to customer experience. But what does care mean? How does it show up in our interaction with employees and each other or with partners? How at Microsoft do we lead with them? We've learned from listening to our customers that human interaction are one of the most important drivers of excellent customer service. For me, applying care in my role is ultimately and deeply acknowledging that I'm responsible of this customer or partner experience. This person contacted AskHR, and I've been nominated to provide the best experience. No matter what channel, our customer should have an equally great experience. Applying care is about being in the moment. It's about investing cognitive skills and emotional intelligence. Carefully reading, listening, making sure I understand these unique needs and expectations, being clear and intentional so that my customer knows and feel it got heard. Thinking creatively when working on a solution, what will be the best solution that could apply to these unique needs? How do I consider and individualize as much as I can? How do I relay in a simple and effective manner? Accepting the ownership to reach a resolution, holding myself accountable in both challenging but also simple situations, end-to-end. How do I investigate, search for alternatives, providing the right information at the right place? That's why it's a journey. Because at the end of the day, or at the end of the case, My impact regarding the customer experience is the willingness and trust of a customer to be a loyal advocate. What about you, Grania? How do you apply care in your role?
Well, Hinda, for me, the care model can sound a lot like their skills and attributes that you're naturally born with. But in my daily work, I see it as being more about practice and experience. The way I communicate and empathize with customers is definitely sharper today than it was when I was a fresh HR services advisor. I honed these skills over time to be more effective, and my network of resources that I have today has definitely not appeared overnight. This experience is also what pushes me to take accountability. Because I have the ability to help, it's only natural to do so. And I absolutely agree with what you said, Hinda, that care is about being in the moment. When you're with a customer and working on their case, you're there with them, and in that time, they are the top priority. But as you said, this is also a journey that we must all take in our roles with training and experience. For now, let's start today's care journey with a quote from Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. The key to everything is empathy, because nothing is more fruitful than walking in the shoes of others. If you're interested in hearing more from Satya himself, you can actually check out his book Hit Refresh or listen to his many talks online. When you do, you quickly learn that his starting point on everything in Microsoft is indeed coming from the customer and their needs. He's always asking, what's the core of the customer's problem, and how can we help and improve their experience? This way of thinking is what has shaped Microsoft's culture of customer obsession. So it follows that, as it is for Satya, that empathy is the leading skill for all of us as part of practicing customer obsession. Empathy means putting ourselves in another's shoes and experiencing their situation with them. However, remember that empathy is not quite sympathy, where you might feel sorry or pity for a situation. It's also not quite compassion or consideration, where we have an emotional response that moves us to help. This is something that I have definitely misunderstood myself in the past. Remember that these are self-centric emotional responses that we feel towards a situation. But it's important for us to feel with our employees when they come to ask HR for help. And that is what empathy means. Let's look in more detail at the types of empathy that there are.
There are 3 different types of empathy. Cognitive empathy allows us to recognize and understand someone else's experience. It's logical. You can see their perspective, and it makes sense. Emotional or affective empathy helps us to experience someone's emotions and perspective as if they were our own. If they're upset, we may feel like crying. Compassionate empathy is more action-based. We can understand someone's experience, feel it with them, and we're motivated to take action to help.
So, Hinda, what's your preferred empathy type? Is it cognitive, emotional, or compassionate?
Grania, thank you. Let me maybe just start with how much this is insightful. It's about acknowledging our unique preferences, being even more inclusive and humbler with others. Personally, I think I could spontaneously go for the cognitive type. But very quickly, I could feel also that I need to adjust and maybe naturally to emotionally connect, to smoothly flow to a compassionate type. Because that's how and where I think it builds the sense of accountability, and you start thinking on what type of resources I will have access to, or I should have access to provide that resolution. What about you, Grania? What's your preferred empathy type?
Thank you, Hinda. Well, I actually find it very interesting that you are naturally a cognitive type. For me, I find that I'm quite an emotional empath and actually had to consciously train myself to be more cognitive in relating to a customer. This helps me rationalize my understanding of a case and communicate with full coherency. And what about our audience today? What do you think? What's your preferred empathy type, and how does it affect your daily work? Let us know in the moderated chat beside this video session. We'd love to get your insights.
I found as well super interesting, Gronya, that sharing our style is demonstrating how much empathy is both an attribute and a skill. Research tells us that many people can develop empathy. Empathy can be intentionally trained and practiced. It gains value by exercising it. So if excellence takes practice, so does empathy. We will discover the empathy map in a second, but before, let me quickly share that the empathy map is a great tool to practice our empathy skills, and you have a link just here to download it. Let's watch a video to learn more about the empathy map.
The Empathy Map is a useful tool that can help you strengthen your empathy skills by focusing on someone else's experience. Use the Empathy Map to consider what you can observe, like what the other person is doing or saying, and what you can infer from their behaviors. Observing another person in an interaction can help you develop cognitive empathy through perspective taking. Extending your empathy means coming alongside another person and their experience, to resonate with their emotions and feel compassion for their situation. Note nonverbal signals and cues too. What is the other person doing, and how are they communicating? Start by being aware of how you are experiencing the interaction as well. Think of this as an overlay to what you're observing of their experience. The Empathy Map can help you with this too. In your interactions, pay attention to the words that are being said and what's not being said. Be mindful of your own choice of words too. Observe behaviors and nonverbal communication cues, like facial expressions or gestures. Also consider what actions you or the other person may have already taken, relevant to the conversation. From their words and actions, what can you infer about what the other person may be thinking? What are you thinking? Are you thinking about how they are impacted, or are you thinking about how the situation impacts you? What internal dialogue are you aware of? Try to stay present to what the other person's experience is. From their words and actions, what can you infer about what the other person may be feeling? Consider how you would feel in the same situation. How are you feeling in this interaction? Again, bring your focus back to the other person and how they may be feeling. Can you empathize with their situation? To extend your empathy even further, consider what is at stake for the other person if their issue cannot be resolved. What is the pain they are trying to avoid? Can you feel or understand their pain? And then, to consider how best to move forward, think about what the best possible outcome of this experience could be for both of you. What are you both trying to gain through this interaction? Are you aligned? By considering your own experience as well as that of the other person, you can consider both perspectives and work to close the gap between your realities.
The Empathy Map is not only a tool, it is labeling what mindfulness in our role looks like. Think, feel, and respond. This summarizes how much applying care is about being present, head and heart, in full awareness and consideration. Listening deeply and noticing words, tone, when possible, the body language, can help us infer what the other person may be thinking or feeling. This will help us build the connection and respond in a more empathetic manner. And connection goes with communication. Our role as HR advisor under the Ask HR brand requires us to be effective communicator with customers, with colleagues, with our partners. In the video we will see now, we will go through the core components and elements of great communication. Active listening and engaging closely with what is being communicated, paying the right attention. How do we frame for meaning and for a further holistic understanding? How do we question for further clarity and alignment? How do we exercise empathy? How do we overall stay authentic as well? This is the foundation of effective communication. That with sincerity, build trust and rapport.
Active listening is a method of communication that drives mutual understanding. It involves engaging closely with what is being communicated and paying attention to possible miscommunication. Framing for meaning focuses on the context of a problem or issue. This can establish a shared perspective for how to evaluate it and move forward. Ask thoughtful questions to clarify your understanding. Paraphrase what is said and seek confirmation that you understood the other person's message. Questioning and clarifying helps the customer examine their own assumptions and stretch their perspective. Interacting empathetically means putting the other person and their experience at the center of your interaction. You can learn a lot by showing genuine interest in what it is like to be in their shoes. Staying authentic is the foundation for effective communication. Keep it real and be sincere to build trust and rapport.
In this section, we will have a special focus on the 3 communication skills: framing, questioning, paraphrasing. Being able to successfully frame a conversation, ask the right question, and paraphrase what is being said can help you to clarify your understanding of the employee needs, gather more information, and reassure the employee that they are being heard. See, we are building a stronger connection. Let's start with framing. Framing is a technique used to drive a productive conversation with a customer, with a partner, focusing on the context of a problem or issue to establish a shared perspective for how to evaluate a case, empathize and understand the unique aspect of the situation and define it, and move forward, pointing to a goal. Brain, what about questioning?
Thank you, Hinda. Well, questioning is a good way to gather more information about a case and to understand more about the customer's experience in order to empathize with them. Also remember that the key to good questioning is to not make it a one-way interrogation. Instead, by using proper questioning techniques, we should be looking to build a rapport via empathetically communicating with our customers in order to develop a constructive discussion. First, we have open-ended questions, which needs a little bit more than a yes or no answer. There are also probing questions where you identify a focus point in a case and drill down for more information. There are also clarifying questions. If you're a bit vague on what the case details are about, it's fine to ask more information of the customer. Confirming questions is very similar, where you try to confirm your understanding of a case. In daily work, I find that our advisors might be a little worried about using clarifying and confirming questions. However, remember that it's not a weakness to try and establish your context within a case. Finally, there are leading questions, which is used for gently guiding a conversation towards a specific goal. And lastly, we have paraphrasing.
Paraphrasing expresses the meaning of something using different wording to achieve greater clarity. Don't be afraid to paraphrase and seek confirmation. This also helps the customer examine their own assumption and perspective. It is a good way to showcase how much you pay attention to what is being communicated, rewarding it to clarify so to avoid any potential misunderstanding. Contrary to parroting, how repeating the same word could add any value or make sense. So Combined with an active listening, paraphrasing shows genuine interest and understanding, decoding and feeding back topics and feelings. You will all be on the same page.
Now, before going further into the care model, let's touch a little bit on the topic of handling heat. We've all been there. You've gotten a case that might be a little bit more complicated than you were expecting, or a manager is understandably upset that their case just isn't getting resolved in good time. You get a little bit flushed, your heart might speed up a little bit, or maybe your hands get clammy while your mouth goes as dry as the Sahara Desert. Once you start to recognize these signals, you are handling heat. It's important to keep your cool and remember that you are not alone. This is a very common situation for us all in HR services, and we just have to try and implement some handy techniques that we'll touch upon in a few moments. In times like these, remember this quote from Eleanor Roosevelt: "To handle yourself, use your head. To handle others, use your heart." When the heat boils your own emotions, it's important that they don't push your hand into making a rash action. Take a moment to cool off and gather yourself, but keep your heart open to the difficulty and emotion that the customer is experiencing. By acknowledging their humanity, you can answer with empathy and calm collectedness. But how about you, Hinda? How do you manage to stay calm in a difficult moment?
That's a great question, Gronya. Usually, I immediately stop. I physically step back from the computer, and then I turn left. In my office, I have a window, and then I pause. I take a deep breath. I reflect. I have this deep need to identify what exactly is causing me that uncomfortable feeling. Is it stress? Am I nervous? Am I afraid? Am I worried? What is it? So that I can identify what is triggering and what's the hidden needs, or maybe the support that I would need. I try to figure out what's this little step I can start with. And if not, I just get out. I take a break and I do something else. I need to remove this from my head for a few minutes. What about you, Gronya?
Well, Hinda, in this case, I believe that we are very much alike. I also have the need to physically separate myself from the situation in order to start cooling myself down from the handling heat situation. Normally, I would take a walk, but most importantly, I might seek out an even-tempered colleague like yourself to ask for a second opinion. This will help me process a case appropriately. I personally have found that breathing and meditation alone just lets me stew unproductively within this situation. Though I've heard from my colleagues that this works very well for them. What about you, the audience today? What do you experience when you handle heat, and how do you manage to keep your cool? Let us know in the chat. So Hinda, can you tell us a little bit more about care and self-care?
Absolutely. I think it's, as you said, Gronya, it's about consciously starting at least one of them. Do a deliberate and intentional choice. Start with one of them, whatever. The others will ultimately arise. To handle yourself, we said we use your heart and self-care. It's called self-empathy, and it's about starting with ourselves to notice and recognize what is happening in us first. So to build that power of recognizing what is happening in others. Accountability is fundamental to customer care. You might have read or heard this quote from Maya Angelou, American memoirist, poet, and civil rights activist. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Empathy and accountability go hand in hand. In fact, the most empathetic thing I can do for our customer is to take accountability. Let's refresh our understanding of what accountability means for an employee supporting role.
When engaging with customers on behalf of Microsoft, it is important that you take personal responsibility for the decisions you make, actions you take, and the resulting customer outcomes. Core components of taking accountability include taking ownership for the customer's experience, partnering with others, and following through on all promises made to the customer. Taking ownership means making a commitment to answer customers' questions, resolve their issues, or help them find the right solutions. Once you have taken ownership of an interaction, assess the situation and identify any areas where someone else might have greater expertise. Then partner with the appropriate individuals if it would be beneficial for your customer. It is also important to be a good partner by sharing your ideas and expertise when someone else requests your help. Following through on the commitments you make to customers is another core piece of accountability and is key to maintaining customer trust. If you make a promise to a customer, it is up to you to make sure that it happens, even if someone else owns a piece of delivering on that promise. And it means continuing to monitor the customer's situation or request all the way through to its resolution.
Being resourceful. What does it mean? Now that we are ready to take accountability, with a resourceful mindset, you are driven to find a way. Let's revisit what you know about being resourceful in an employee supporting role.
Being resourceful means having the ability to find and use available resources to solve problems, achieve goals, and demonstrate customer obsession on behalf of Microsoft. Resourcefulness is a skill you can build using a combination of drive, analytic ability, decision-making, perseverance, and strength. When you are addressing a customer's issues or needs, you can demonstrate resourcefulness by using your knowledge, experience, and training, asking for help in a timely manner, being proactive in anticipating the customer's needs, and providing clear and simple information, answers, and recommendations. As soon as you recognize that you need assistance, it is important to seek out other resources or individuals and ask for help. Leveraging the experience of the people around you, especially if you do it swiftly, is a sign of strength and may help you build a foundation of trust with the customer. Then, if an escalation is needed, it can be an opportunity to have a conversation with the customer or stakeholder, collaborate to resolve a situation, and continue building a strong relationship. Another way to demonstrate resourcefulness is to be proactive and identify ways you can help the customer both to meet their immediate need and avoid future issues.
Now that we've introduced each aspect of the care model individually, let's talk about them as power couples. These are the two aspects that most closely complement each other when practiced together, and then they create a synergy. This brings your practical application of the care model to the next level. The power couples are empathy and communication, and accountability and resourcefulness. So, while empathy is the leading skill in the care set of behaviors, there's no denying the synergy that occurs when applying empathy and communication together. They are the ultimate power couple of the care model, feeding and building each other up. But at the same time, they have that same ability to block each other out. How does this happen? Well, by not actively listening, making assumptions, minimizing the customer's experience, or maybe even missing cultural cues. If you make a mistake or two here or there, don't worry about it. Having a growth mindset means learning from our mistakes and improving on them in the future. Effective communication is built on a foundation of empathy. It's important to remember that effective communication is built on a foundation of empathy. This means acknowledging the customer as a person and validating their experience in order to create an atmosphere of trust. This opens the channel of communication between us and our employees to more effectively work together towards a resolution. That is why it's important to listen closely to our employees and not make any assumptions about a case. Acknowledge the customer's feelings and practice active listening to elevate the customer experience. And what about you, Hinda? What does this power couple of empathy and communication mean to you?
Well, Gronya, whenever we communicate, we use empathy. Communication is just the words that I use or that we use. It's putting myself in the customer perspective and adapting accordingly. It's what's beside the word, actually. Communicating with empathy is not just about adapting to what my customer needs to hear, but also how they need to hear it and where they need to hear it. It's about creating that trust. You understand what it's all about, acknowledging the need as well to trust that we are connected to them, concerned for them as much as if it was for us. And this experience is important for both of us, feeling heard and supported. What about you, Gronya?
Well, Hinda, I'm totally aligned with your thinking in that they naturally complement each other. Once you learn to empathize effectively, you just end up communicating appropriately without having to overthink anything. And that's the most important thing. Let your empathy guide you in how you communicate, and that will naturally boost trust and rapport with the customer. And what about our audience today? Does empathy and communication work as a power couple for you? Let us know in the chat. So our second power couple is accountability and resourcefulness. And they are also two sides of the same coin, where you take ownership of the employee's issues and find a way to get it resolved. It's very difficult to be one without the other, because that means you won't know where to go for an issue you may not be fully grasping. These two skills are also ones which I believe more heavily rely on practice and experience. No one expects you to know where to go for answers all of the time, or to always understand under which team or agent scope an issue may fall. However, with time and training and inner strength, this will come to you naturally. In the meantime, it's important to leverage tools such as the HR Web, FAQs, DTPs, and KB articles. And especially, you can reach out to your senior colleagues. For our more senior colleagues, remember that for yourselves, being accountable and resourceful means that it's important that we are available to collaborate and support questions from our colleagues to help build trust with customers and resolve cases sooner. And what about yourself, Hinda? What does accountability and resourcefulness mean to you in your daily work?
Gronya, I will say that being accountable means that you own your customer's issue and you find a solution. Resourcefulness is the way you do that. As you said, it's so right. They go together hand in hand. It's hard actually to be accountable without being resourceful because you won't find the resource you need to solve a problem. So I always think that those two behaviors together, it's when they go together that they got that higher value and the impact. What about you, Gronya? What do you think?
Well, Hinda, I can only agree with you again. And I can only add that this power couple is very trainable, in my opinion. And it also has a stronger synergy with each other than our first power couple. As you learn and gather resources over time, you become more capable and confident in your abilities, which drives you to take accountability because you know you have the resources available to help. And that brings us to the end of today's session on the CARE model of customer expected behaviors. You can feel free to download the CARE Experience checklist as a reference for the next time you're helping an employee to show care. Thank you for your time today with me and Hinda, and we hope that you found something you can take away from this session.
We wish you all success in your daily work, and most of all, we want to thank you for caring.
The content presented today is available to you in the agenda section of this page. Make sure you save a copy for future reference.